Hey y'all, I'm Jackie and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a slow flow yoga video. So just kind of felt like slowing things down a little and really getting deep into some poses. So let's go ahead and get started. Once you have your mat and are in some comfortable clothes that you can move in, and find a comfortable seat. That might be on your mat, in a cross-legged position. You can be in a chair, add some cushions, whatever works for you. Let your hands rest down on your legs. And sit up a little taller, a little prouder, sipping the energy up through the crown of your head. And then allow your shoulders to soften down away from your ears. Close your eyes. And let's take a deep breath of air in. Fill your belly, your diaphragm all the way up. Pause at the top for a moment. And exhale slowly. Whatever pace is comfortable for you, take a deep breath of air in. And a sweet breath out. One more. Deep breath in. And a cleansing breath out. Let it go. Feel free to keep your eyes closed throughout practice, but if you want a little bit more help with your balance, feel free to open them. And then as you inhale, sweep the arms out and up towards the sky, gaze up, and then exhale, fold over your legs, bring your hands down to the ground and roll your chin into your chest. You can stay still here, or you can crawl those fingertips a little bit further in front of you, just getting a little bit more extension in your back body. And try to keep those sits bones rooting down into the earth so that you can lengthen just your spine. And then if some fluid movement feels good here, add it in. Yoga is all about just reconnecting to yourself and, trying to clear out all of the expectations that you or others have set for yourself and tune into what you need. So slowly roll those shoulders back up, stacking the shoulders on top of your hips. And let's do some shoulder rolls here. Rolling the shoulders forward and up. Inhale. Exhale, roll them down and back. We're going to do this a few times at your own pace. We'll switch directions in just a moment. No rush. And switch directions if you haven't yet. And release that left hand down outside your left hip and sweep your right arm up and over for a nice feel-good side stretch. Really keep that right glute anchored down into the ground as you find a little bit more length between each rib of your right side. And continue to just breathe your own natural breath. And let's take it over to the other side. Bring the right hand down to the right hip, or down to the ground, and then sweep your left arm up and over. And again, really press that left glute down to the earth and find some length between each rib of your left side. And find some sweet breaths here. And then reach both arms back up to the sky. Inhale. Exhale, cactus your arms. So bend those elbows, push them back towards the back of the room to squeeze the shoulder blades together and open up your chest. You can even lift your chin out of your heart space to open up through your throat. Opening up through your heart chakra, your throat chakra. And inhale, sweep those arms back up. Exhale, reach them back. So just like that cactus we just did, but with the arms expanded like wings. And then bring the hands behind your back, clasp your hands together. Drive your knuckles down towards the ground. Again, feel free to lift your chin out of your chest. Squeezing the shoulder blades together. And just a couple breaths right here. You can bring the chin slightly back into your chest if if that was a little too much opening. And then reach your hands out in front of you. We'll take that little back stretch once again, curling your chin into your chest. Stretch the fingers forward. And find an active stretch or maybe just a passive softening. As you breathe, notice your back body expanding with your in-breath. And feel this sense of ease and relaxation entering your body with every exhale. Each inhale is an opportunity to just check in to see how your body's feeling. Each exhale is an opportunity to let go of maybe just a little tension, to allow yourself to soften and relax. And then roll yourself back up to that seat. Let's come out of a seat. So let's move into a tabletop. Stack those hands underneath your shoulders, knees over your hips. And please modify this. Every single body is different. Some things may feel good to you and not others. Other things may not feel good to you and feel good for others. And none of that defines your worth. All right, so let's move into cat-cow. Spread those fingers nice and wide. Grip into those finger pads. And then drop your belly down as you tilt your tailbone up to the sky. You can even give it like a little wiggle, a little curiosity, a little playfulness. Take yourself a little less seriously. Open your heart forward towards the front of the room. Maybe your puppy. And then on your next exhale, bring your chin into your chest, round your spine, tuck your tailbone, creating this C shape in your back. And let's just move through a few of those at your own pace. You can move with each breath, or maybe take several rounds of breath in each one. So I'll allow you a few moments in silence to move however your body feels. Add any wiggles or organic movements that I have or have not mentioned. All right, back to tabletop when you're ready. Inhale, sweep that right arm up to the sky. Open your chest. Maybe look up. And then exhale, thread your needle. So right hand's gonna reach between your left wrist and your left knee. And then maybe that right elbow comes to the ground. Maybe your right shoulder rests on a blanket or on the ground or on a pillow. And then if it's comfortable, rest your head or your right cheek on the ground. And again, not all bodies, this pose doesn't serve all bodies. So listen to yourself and what you need. Cushions are great for this pose. What we want to focus on is getting an opening in the chest here. So that left hand can reach forward to the top edge of your mat. Or if you need a little bit more opening, you can wrap that left hand to your low back to help kind of open up this left shoulder, that left pectoral muscle. Or you can even, if it's available, squeeze those left fingers into your right hip crease. Now move into whatever works for you. You might try a couple of those and change it up. We'll just be here for a few rounds of breath. And know that you are never stuck in any yoga pose, that if there's pain or major discomfort, please come out of it. You know your body better than anyone. All right, bring that left hand back underneath your shoulder and inhale, slowly sweep that right arm up to the sky, open your chest. Couple breaths right here. You can even move your arm like a rainbow. Reach those fingers forward and back as slowly or as quickly as you'd like. Eventually bring that right hand back down to the ground. And your next inhale sweeps that left arm up to the sky. Look up, gaze up. And thread your needle. Left hand extends through that space between your right wrist and your right knee. Feel free to put cushions, pillows, blankets underneath your shoulder and your left cheek. And just try to relax as much as you can. Relax your left arm. It might feel good to activate, reaching the left fingertips over to the right side of the room, or relax it. And then find whatever works on this side. Maybe crawl the right fingertips forward. Maybe bring the right hand to your low back, or even that left hip crease. And just take a few moments to breathe right here. Bring that right hand back to you underneath your right shoulder. Inhale, sweep the left arm up high to the sky. Take a couple breaths here and maybe reach forward and back like a rainbow a few times. And if you're outside like I am, maybe you can even enjoy some of the really pretty clouds and how blue the sky is. I don't think I've looked up at it today. All right, bring that left hand down underneath your shoulder. Let's tuck the toes. Send the knees up and back for downward facing dog. Woo, my hamstrings are tight today. And just check in to see how your hammies are feeling in this pose. And there's no good or bad, right or wrong, just whatever is. So if those hammies are a little tight, a little sore, maybe you bend the knees a lot today. If you need more opening, maybe drive those heels down towards the earth even more powerfully. But wherever you are, we're just going to hang out here for a few rounds of breath. So let's find some nice alignment to help our bodies really benefit from this pose. And please know that you can always lower those knees down to the ground. If your wrists are sore, you can always bring those forearms down. It's just going to put more, going to build a little bit more strength in the shoulders, and you're probably going to feel it. And just breathe here as you push your heart toward your kneecaps. So this is going to help lengthen your spine. If you look at the video, there's a nice kind of V shape almost. Whether your knees are bent or straight, my back stays the same. So if you're kind of forward at all, bend those knees and push your heart towards your thighs or your kneecaps. And look towards your toes. Relax your neck, shake it. Shake your head yes and no. And you can even shift a little side to side, especially because this can be a really challenging pose. All right. And we're going to get some nice juicy hip stretches in. So let's sweep that right leg up high to the sky as you breathe in. And then exhale, reach forward with that right knee and place it on the ground by your right pinky. And then you might want to scoot those left toes further back for half pigeon. And so for this pose, it might feel better to wiggle that right foot more towards your left hand. And if this does not feel good in your body, you are not alone. I actually took and still take different modifications. So shoot me a message or comment if you want some examples of modifications for this pose. But for the sake of this video, I'm just going to hang out in half pigeon for a few rounds of breath. And so we want to try to put a little bit weight in that left hip. So roll the left hip forward and down as you pull that right glute back towards your left heel. And you can stay upright like this, or you can come down to a nice big cushion, bolster, or pillow. And feel free to come down to your forearms. And then try to soften your body wherever you notice any tension in this pose. And then imagine that your breath has these nourishing, healing powers to it, and that you can send your breath directly into the spaces of your body that you're feeling tension or, stickiness, or that you want to find a little bit more relaxation and ease in. So for example, my right hip is screaming, not in pain, but just, hello, I'm feeling this. So I'm just imagining that I can send my breath into this space of my body. And with each exhale, I can try to relax just a little bit more. can soften my shoulder blades, the back of your neck. And just a couple more breaths right here. And gently make your way back up. We're going to slowly come out of this pigeon pose. You can come into that downward facing dog or a tabletop. And I'm just going to come back into a tabletop, and you can kick that right leg back in tabletop or down dog. Roll out your ankle, maybe do some hip rolls, hip circles, knee circles. And we'll meet either back in tabletop or downward facing dog, or any other modification that you are using today. And let's breathe here for just a couple rounds of breath. And just notice the texture of your mat beneath your fingers. Or maybe you have a yoga towel there, or you're using your floor. And just notice like the temperature of it beneath you. Is it soft? Is it coarse? Is it squishy? Is it hard? And then bring your attention back to your breath. And we'll inhale, sweep that left leg up to the sky. Exhale, half pigeon on this side, left knee outside your left wrist, towards your left pinky. And then maybe wiggle those right toes or that right foot towards your right hand a little. And you can even scoot that right leg back a little, making a little bit more space for your hips. And just notice here if you're really leaning over onto your left side, try to find some equal weight by rolling the right hip forward and down and pull the left hip up and back. Stay here. Maybe come down to a cushion, a bolster, blanket, just to the ground. And find whatever version of this pose works for you in this moment. And if this doesn't serve you and you don't have, you're not sure of what modifications to take, just rest and focus on your breath. You're doing yoga. And again, imagine you can send your nourishing, healing breath into different parts of your body. Each breath clears away any stickiness or tension, or maybe just kind of slowly picks away at that tension. And each exhale allows you some space to soften. Relax your jaw, maybe the space between your eyebrows, your shoulder blades, your arm muscles, maybe your toes. And we'll be here for just a few more rounds of breath. And your own way, make yourself back up. And come into either that tabletop or downward facing dog. Extend your left leg behind you. Feel free to roll out the ankle or do some knee or hip circles. All right, let's move back to downward facing dog. Tuck your toes, send those hips up and back. And keep those legs straight or take a nice deep bend. Not one is better than the other. Looks wise, whatever, just do whatever feels right in your body. All right, so we're gonna add on here. Inhale, sweep that right leg up to the sky. Exhale to step it through between your hands. So maybe you help that foot up with your hand. Maybe you just step straight through, or whatever way you need to get there, go for it. And then rise up to high crescent lunge for our standing flow. I love slow flow because it lets us really tune into the alignment and feel all the different things going on in each pose. So feel free to keep your arms reaching up towards the sky. I need a little rest, so I'm going to honor my body today and bring the palms together at my heart space, but do whatever works for you. So let's move from the feet up. Keep those eyes closed or open, whatever feels right. And really root down through the big toe mound of your right foot. And then add that same pressure into your right heel, rooting down into the ground, maybe the ball of your right foot. And then can you imagine that you can lift up the arch of that right foot? So the energy kind of moves up. You might be like, what? How am I supposed to do that? That's okay. It's just a suggestion. And then move into the back of that back foot, so your left foot. That heel stacking over the ball of your left foot, or somewhere in that range. And that back leg is strong and straight. So if it's a little bent, try to power up, lift the back of your left leg up towards the sky. Moving on up those legs, that right knee, try to stack it on top of your right ankle, but if it's a little behind it, that's okay. Big thing to make sure here is that your knee moves, is tractioning towards the front toes. Not that you have, towards the front toes. Because a lot of times we want to cave that knee inward because it feels better on our muscles and we put the pressure on our joints. But try to keep that knee moving towards your middle toes. And then try to pull that right glute just a tiny bit back towards your left heel. And then that left hip shines forward in front of you. And then imagine you can zip up through your core, or like you're putting on a zipper jacket. So you're lifting up through your chest, and then stretch those fingers up tall if they're not already. I don't know about y'all, but I'm feeling the burn in that right glute. And then soften your face. Maybe even find a smile of how grateful you are for these legs of yours, for these arms, for your eyes, for anything that comes up in this moment. And then bend a little deeper into that right knee. Bend into your back knee. And we're going to step that left foot up to meet our right foot. Woohoo! And then straighten out both legs. Reach those arms up tall to the sky. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, swan dive. Reach those arms out and down for a forward fold. Halfway lift, breathe in. Bring those hands to your shins on the ground or your thighs. Flatten your back. Exhale, fold. Plant your hands and step it back to a high plank. Knees up or knees down. This is slow flow, but I don't know about y'all. I'm not feeling slowing down in a high plank. So let's just move forward. So literally move forward. Shift your weight into your toes. Keep your knees lifted or lower them down. And lower all the way down to your belly. Zip those legs together. And we'll take this one nice and slow. But bring the elbows in towards your ribs and squeeze the elbows in and back towards your heels. Press the tops of your feet deep into the earth and lift up your chest using your back muscles. You can even float your hands off the mat, but really keep those elbows squeezing in and back. Open your chest and just look slightly in front of you, like maybe down at the front edge of your mat. This can actually be really challenging. Like, I'm struggling here. Don't forget to breathe. Let's take one more deep breath in, get a little higher. And exhale, lower all the way down to the ground. Tuck your toes. Push up, high plank or tabletop. Exhale, downward facing dog. Same thing, other side. Inhale, left leg reaches high. Exhale, step it through between your hands, however you want to get there. And then rise up to high crescent lunge. Arms overhead, or bring those hands to your heart. Maybe your hips or somewhere else. And we'll be here for a few rounds of breath. So let's check in with our bodies. How's your big toe mound of your left foot? What would it feel like to drive it a little bit more deeply into the earth? Maybe press that left heel down into the ground a little more. And then what would it feel like if you just imagine lifting the arch of your left foot, moving that energy from the ground up your body. And then that back foot, that right foot of yours, try to stack that heel on top of the ball of your foot, somewhere in that area. Just keep that heel lifted at least off the ground. And the back leg is strong and straight. If it bends a little, try to lift it up towards the sky. And then with that left knee, same as the other side. If you notice it caving in, try to traction that knee towards your middle toes. On top of that left ankle or somewhere in that area. And let's move on to those hips. Pull the left glute or the left hip back towards your right heel. Right hip shines forward towards the front of the room. And then zip up your imaginary jacket to find a strong core and an open chest. And stretch those fingers up tall to the sky. Relax your face. Take yourself just 1% less seriously. And find that deep, nourishing breath of yours. And just a couple more rounds of breath. Feel that burn. Send your nourishing breath into whatever areas of your body need it. And let's bend both knees a little bit. If I had $1 for every time I said a little bit in this video, I'd probably have a lot of dollars. All right, so we're going to step that right foot forward and straighten both legs. Ooh, you might even squeeze those glutes at the top. And let's get a nice stretch. Lift those heels up towards the sky. Stretch your fingertips up, maybe a little tiptoe dance. Lower the heels down, breathe in. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, fold. And let's do that a little slower. So halfway lift and stay here for a few rounds of breath. A lot of times we kind of move through this motion mindlessly because it happens a lot in flows. So let's be really mindful here. Notice where the weight is in your feet right now. A lot of times it falls back into our heels. But what if you rock the weight a little bit more forward so that your hips stack over your heels just a little bit more? Maybe it lights up the back of your legs a little. And then pull your navel in toward your spine, but open your chest. So squeeze those shoulder blades together on your back, and then keep your gaze down so that your cervical spine is an extension of the rest of your spine instead of letting it like crank up. And then push your hands into your legs and your legs back into your hands. Strong core for one more breath in. Exhale, fold, let it go. A little different this time. Step your left foot back to the back of the mat. Lower your knee and untuck your toes. Or keep them tucked if that feels better. We're going to get a little psoas stretch. So the more you wiggle that left leg back behind you, the deeper the stretch. So if you need to bring it in a little, that's perfectly fine. But we want to kind of lean forward. So you can keep your hands down on the ground if that feels good, or bring your hands to your right thigh. And just shift those hips forward and down. Getting a nice stretch in the top of that left thigh. Feel free to reach your arms up overhead to add some arm strengthening. And breathe here. Take a little body scan from your head to your toes. And imagine you can send that nourishing breath into anywhere in your body that is calling for it. When you're ready, slowly release your hands down to the ground, and we'll get into half splits. Send your hips back until your hip stacks over your left knee, and flex your right toes until you feel a nice stretch in the back of your right leg. Bend your knee as much as you need. Take any movements that you need till it feels good. And we'll hang out here for a few rounds of breath. To add some more sensation, you can squeeze your right glute back towards your left heel ever so slightly. You can draw your nose down towards your knee. And you can even imagine that somebody in front of you has a string on your heart or your chest and is pulling you forward to help keep that back straight. No need to overstretch, so if you are feeling like some intense sensations, then maybe back off a little. And then when you're ready, rebend into the right knee, plant your left hand down on the ground, and sweep that right arm up to the sky for just a little stretch. And then you can reach back and forward just like we did before if you'd like. Eventually bring that right hand down, step the right foot back, or the right knee back to tabletop. And we're just going to take it on the other side. Bring the left foot forward. Wiggle that right leg back any amount that feels good. Keep your hands on the mat or maybe bring them up to your thigh. It might be helpful to put a blanket or cushion underneath your right knee. Whatever you need to do to feel a nice, good stretch on the top of that right leg. And several rounds of breath here. To make this serve your body, no need to push past your limits. That does you no good. But honor your physical boundaries, whatever they are in this moment. And know that those physical boundaries are constantly changing. Never, ever the same. And send your loving, caring breath into maybe your entire body. Maybe to any thoughts or emotions that arise as well. Relax your face. Soften your expectations. And then slowly release the hands down. Move into half splits. So guide the hips back, straighten your left leg. Right hip stacks on top of your right knee. Maybe flex those toes in towards your face and pull your heart forward. And the cues I'm giving are just cues that feel good in my body, not necessarily what feels good in your body or anyone else's. So they're just suggestions, and please feel free to always move in whatever shape serves you. And know that it is not always obvious what we need or what does serve us in the moment, because there's a lot of distractions and confusion. This is a practice. And just being able to see, okay, is that my gut telling me what to do, or is that my ego? Just knowing which voice is which. All right, just a couple more rounds of breath to make this feel delicious in your left hamstring. I don't think you can feel delicious, but yeah, I think you can. All right, rebend that left knee, plant your right hand down on the ground, and sweep your left arm up. Little twist. Keep the arm up, or just reach forward and back. Rainbow your arm side to side. Eventually bring that left hand down. Step back into a tabletop. Let's take a couple cat-cows here at your own pace with your own breath. And eventually cross your ankles or bring the knees together or anything else that's comfortable to come back in a seat to close out practice. You can also take a nice long shavasana or continue with your yoga practice. But just to close out this video, allow your hands to rest down on your legs. Palms face down to increase a feeling of security, of grounding. Or palms face up for energizing and kind of lifting up your mood. Whatever works for you. Allow your eyes to close. Sit up even taller and more proud. And bring your attention to your breath. And just notice where in your body you feel the breath move more into. Maybe that's your belly, deep in your diaphragm, your chest, your back body, your side bodies, or somewhere else. And just notice without labeling or judging. Observe the temperature of your breath, the speed, the depth. No matter what you're experiencing, you are enough. You are worthy. You are a strong, powerful, capable, and beautiful human being. Thank yourself for taking this time to reconnect back to that human that you are to the core. For gifting yourself grace, presence, and love. And slowly empty out all the air that you currently have in your lungs. And slowly fill yourself up. Breathing in. Pause at the top. And take a slow, sweet, cleansing breath out. Let it go. Bring your palms together at your heart space. Bow your chin into your chest. Bowing to the efforts that you've put into this practice. Bowing to the efforts that you've put into everyday life. That I know it doesn't always feel like it, but I promise your best is enough. With all the love that I have in my heart, I thank you and I bow to you. Namaste. Thank you all so much for joining me in this nice slow flow. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, but if you have any requests for future videos, whatever they may be, shoot me a message or a comment and I'd be happy to do my best. And if you have any questions on this or want to know some modifications for poses, I'd be more than happy to assist. I am a 500-hour registered yoga teacher. I teach meditation every week via Zoom, so if you're interested in that, let me know. But no matter what, please have a beautiful rest of your day. Treat yourself well. Send yourself some love. Bye, y'all.